I would love to encourage you to not be everyone's cup of tea or coffee or wine or mojitos. I don't drink, so I'm having a hard time coming up with other things. Sweet tea, you don't have to be everyone's cup of sweet tea, especially because not everybody gets to pull on your energy in that way. You have to be true to your soul and you have to be true to you.
Well, welcome to Intuition, Your Success Compass. I'm Vicki Baird, your host and wisdom-led mindset coach. This podcast is where intuition meets strategy and mindset meets meaning. I help smart, successful women stop overthinking and start trusting their inner wisdom. Because your clarity, confidence, and next level life are already within you. With over 2 decades of coaching experience, a knack for systems, and a great gift for spotting what's off, be it a saboteur thought or an out of alignment choice, I'm here to help you connect your brilliant brain with your soul's knowing. You'll get grounded insights, a little humor, and real life tools to create change that actually sticks. Like your go-to morning brew, familiar, grounding, and the nudge you didn't know you needed. And I love coffee, so that works too.
Well, hi, thanks for joining me. So, have you heard of that movement that's going on called I Do Not Care? It's largely happening in the perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal woman genre, I guess you'd say. And it's called I Do Not Care. But people are talking about the beautiful things they're doing in their lives. I do not care that at the age of 45, I started riding horses and hadn't done it earlier in my life. I do not care that I've never run before. I'm 60. I'm going to try it. I do not care that I have never traveled by myself. I think she was 68 or something, and somewhere in that area. And I'm going to do it. So I love this. And it's really caught my attention because I love celebrating when people are challenging themselves and when they're creating within their own life a little bit of resistance that then feels really good once you're trying it out. I mean, we don't have to be, and we won't be successful at everything we try, but just having that courage or the willingness to try something even though your knees might be knocking. And like I've said before in this podcast, if something scares me a little bit, I'm going to give it a shot because I feel like that's a message from my soul, from my own knowing that this could be a lot of fun, Vicki, if you got quiet of your saboteurs and leaned into your sage mind. So that got me thinking this week, though, along with another experience of someone saying to me they wanted to coach with me. And I'm willing to talk to every being who wants to coach with me. And yet I am very selective as well. So they wanted to coach with me and they really wanted somebody who would be their accountability partner. I do consider myself that. I very much consider myself that. I will hold the place of belief in you until you believe in yourself. I will ask you how come these things that we talked about that you said were important to you didn't get addressed. I know the premise. I know that the saboteurs probably got involved, but I'm still going to ask because you're paying me to ask you. But this person wanted me to be an accountability partner to the level of remembering everything they said that they'd want to do and basically being their to-do list. And I said, no, that's not how I coach. It's not who I am. And I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And I am very okay with that. Mostly because I drink coffee. I do love nettle tea, though. So I guess I could be not everybody's cup of nettle tea. And really, that's the point. And this isn't about marketing niches or anything like that. It's about knowing myself so well that when someone comes along that I feel this is not a good fit, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to take your money. And I am going to be very clear that I just don't think this is the best interaction. And then I'll refer them to someone because I feel like if you're that detail oriented, there's a beauty in that, and there could also be an avoidance in that. And if you're not willing to explore that, you just want somebody who basically could be your executive assistant, well, then you need to go elsewhere. And that's what got me thinking about this episode of not being everyone's cup of tea, because I realize after 25 years of coaching, I'm not going to be, and I freaking love that. Just like not everybody wants to be friends with me because I can be so present to my life that I'm not going to check in with you every day. I just don't have a need for that type of relationship. If I do check in with you, it's because you are of my heart. And honestly, I stopped doing anything else I was doing long enough to send the text and not just send the intuitive ping that tends to happen. I feel like I've reached out to someone, but I never actually picked up the phone. I just sent it energetically. So not wanting to be my friend or hang out with me or find that I'm funny or engaging, I am so cool with that. I feel like you're doing me a solid favor by me not having to say, I just don't think this is going to work. I feel like we're in a world that can be obsessed with being liked by everyone, and charging a bajillion, is that really a number? Dollars to feel worthy, and I'm not playing that game. I've created a business I love, the clients I love, in a way that feels honest. It is abundant, and it's also fun. Every day that I have clients lined up, I work 3 days a week with clients. Every day I have them lined up. Every morning, I'm excited about my lineup, and I see on average 5 people a day, and I am so excited to do that because I have created my own experience of surrounding myself with people that I align with and that I can genuinely help and that show up to do the work for themselves without expecting me to be the one to carry them. I am not a hard ass about deadlines. I'm just not. Why are we rushing? Where are we going? An early grave because you stressed yourself out so damn bad that your organs just said, I'm out of here? I coach humans. I do not coach robots. I do not coach to the crack a whip and make sure you got that done. I want to know if we agreed on something and you didn't get it done. Are you okay? What's your brain telling you? Did it not align after you thought it did? Because, woo, that happens. And we might just have to reassess and get innovative about what is this the direction you wanted to go in? I love when people come back to me and say, I thought about it, Vicky. I lived in it. I felt it out, and it just does not feel right. I love that because I truly believe that you all know yourself really well, and I'm actually here just to pull that brilliance out of you and your fabulousness. And I can offer a place of landing when someone needs softness and when they need understanding, and definitely when they haven't received that in their parenting. I have been known to play the role, and I'm very blessed to do this as a second mom to some of my coaches. Not that I will, you can ask my kids. I did not placate and I did not make excuses for. So I can also see right through the BS, and I will. And I will present that usually with some humor, definitely gently. Sometimes, if this is the fourth or fifth time we've talked about something, you will get a look that says, come on now, cut it out. No, that's not going to fly with me. Because just like kids, we all want boundaries. We all know when we're fibbing or lying to ourselves, and that person that'll go, what? Are you kidding? Cut it out. I use my intuition or my spidey senses and my 25 years of experience to help people connect with their truth, not mine. I don't need you to be anyone other than who you are or to be in a relationship other than you're in. But I do need you to be honest with yourself and truthful enough that you're willing to admit when something isn't working well. And not only to feel fabulous, but lived? No, live. What tense of that word do I want? But to live aligned with who you really are. That's what's important. It's not about attaining a certain level of income, although once you line up with yourself, that follows. It really does. And case after case after case, client after client after client. Now, I want to be really clear with you and say that the people that I'm coaching already have a certain level of that with them, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to afford my services. And I do not allow myself to be put on a credit card. You can put me on a company expense. I'm okay with that. I will give you my tax ID number. But I am not going to allow someone to go into debt to do some coaching with me, because that just creates pressure. And if somebody wants that, oftentimes what I've done is a pro bono session one time and really laid out a course of what they could do to find themselves free of that debt, and then in a place where they can afford me. And that has worked. I have had people show up and say, nope, this is coming right out of my savings account, or they found a way that their company would pay for it. I'll work with you there too. You're not going to go into debt for me. And if someone needs a high pressured accountability, check the box, thinking that that's what success is, I'm not your person. I'm not. None of my clients need saving. They don't need someone to follow them around. They often require a space to remember who they are and the courage to trust that, and a sounding board to bounce ideas off of. I have some of the most successful female clients, business owners, CEOs, firm owners, and that's not a braggadocious thing. That's to say that the intelligence is there. They create the success in their life, and they're smart enough to know that not every idea is a winner. Lord, have I had some stinkers, which is what I bounce off of my coach, right? Like, that's why I have a coach, because every coach should have a coach and should be growing and expanding. But the majority of the times, the clients that I'm talking about with, we're talking about business strategy, and we're talking about, okay, how do you feel within your own soul? How is your heart? What's that relationship that you're spending so much energy on? How is it providing for you? Is it benefiting? And also being and learning how to speak clearly, directly, with kindness, to get more of what they want. I want you to have more of what you want. I love celebrating that. And part of the success is I'm also make it very clear to people that I'm very well aware that most of coaching happens between sessions. I am here as a place of groundedness, inspiration, intuition, and a gentle kick in the choochie boomy if you need one. But they do the work between sessions in their own lives. And that's why it works. And that's also why we use the Positive Intelligence app, because every day it's available to you. You can hire me to be available to you 6 days a week. I'm not doing Saturdays, but that's at a higher cost. And it's still not in a place of checking every box for you, that I'm not a nanny. But the Positive Intelligence app allows people to have that guidance in the direction and to learn about their brain. And I just know how well it worked for me. And I would have said I was pretty balanced to begin with. Boy, was I off on that. And I'm so grateful to understand the difference, because now I know what a quiet head feels like. And that's part of the work that gets done between sessions. And I love that I have the partner in that too, because we can't, and nor should we be everything to everybody. And this allows for self-study. It allows for self-reflection and some meditation, and just learning how the brain works so that they can be happier. So what would you shift if you stopped trying to be the right person for everyone and started being the right person for yourself, what would you shift? Go with the thing that comes up first, the very first thought that pops into your head. Because when something pops into your head, it's often your intuition, and you can trust that. You can listen. You might not like the answer. If it's something about having a conversation with somebody that might need a little bit of courageousness, or if it means, like, I have been avoiding, and I know this is important to me, to my alignment and to next steps in business for me. I've been avoiding my closet. I don't have a lot of clothes because I tend to wear the same thing, and if I like one thing, I buy 6 of it. Hello, EDD. I love that, and I have been avoiding my closet, and I can feel it. So today, after this episode, I will be getting in there and getting rid of anything I haven't worn in the last year, 6 months. It's tough because our seasons are so flexible, we'll say, that I have all of it out at once, and I'm just tired of looking at all of it. So the majority of it is going to get donated. And to me, that's the shift that needs to happen. I can feel how it's correlated to freeing me up in my business. And this is how energy works. We can have a block in our closet or in our junk drawer or our car or conversations with someone, and it will directly affect your financial life and your career and your success. So think about it that way. So I'm going to ask you again, what would you shift if you stopped trying to be the right person for everyone, made some space for yourself, and started being the right person for your path? What would you shift? What's the first thing? Do it. With this awareness of my own wiring, what matters to me, what's important to me, it does bring a lot of freedom because I don't want more. And to the example of my closet, which I did not think I was going to share with you, but why not? I don't want more. I want less. I could change more, absolutely, but I choose to change what matters to me so that I have less that I have to take care of. So in this, there's a freedom to not keep up with the Joneses or not keep up with the messaging. So there's a lot of messaging and coaching that if you're not at if you don't have $1 million business, or if you aren't on that big stage, or you don't have a book deal, that you're failing, which I just freaking love. Aren't we supposed to be helping people feel good about themselves and live the life that they want to live? And that yet the message to coaches is if you're not doing this, you suck. And I had a client tell me a couple weeks ago that I could charge triple what I charge. And I said to her, thank you. I really appreciate that. I love providing the value at the amount that feels good to me. I have worked the numbers. I promise you, I know my numbers. I know what works for my life. I know what I want to have so I can still contribute to charities, so I can still give my time in volunteering, and so that I can be completely present with my clients. One of the things my clients get are a very rested Vicky, because I'm so committed to bringing them someone who's present and who is only about them for the hour that we're together, that I don't run myself ragged anymore. I used to do 40 sessions a week. And I look at that and now, and most of them were intuitive sessions, not coaching, but I'm like, how the hell did I do that? Well, I was only in survival mode. I was chasing the buck. And while my services will cost, they're in the 4 figures, 5 if you do want that, you want me available on call, I call it. Yeah, you're gonna pay a little bit more for that. And I could charge more. I know I could, but I choose to charge what feels good for me, not what fits somebody else's formula. There was a time where I wanted that stage in the book deals I'm not saying that won't happen. I would love to have another book out there. I'm just saying that I know myself well enough that I'm not going to stress myself out or be somebody else's version of a coach so that it makes them feel better. I'm not playing the I have to make millions to be happy game. I'm already happy. I'm very fulfilled with my life. I love that song. Think I like this little life. I love that song because I know I love my little life. I have freedom of schedule so that I can volunteer 3 days a week, and which I've learned so much from the horses. And also being the volunteer coordinator has taught me a lot about being a coach. So I feel like it's an investment in myself, and I make a great income. I absolutely do. And I do it helping people I deeply care about, and that's wealth to me as well. I know that I must be generating business, and I'm thrilled that I primarily work word of mouth. Some of you from the podcast, I really appreciate that as well. I consider that word of mouth, it's my mouth. And yet, the conversations that I had to have with myself were deep and were, I will say, confronting at times because I had a certain number in my head that I wanted on a piece of paper and I wanted in my bank accounts. And then I realized that even though I was in the process of creating that, I didn't love the way I was doing it. And then I looked at the rest of my life and said, well, I don't need much. I can absolutely, as long as I have good coffee, good plant-based creamer, and, my house is warm, I'm good. So figuring that out, though, because my saboteurs were very much in judgment of, you have a unique thing here, Vicky. You love the brain and intuition, and you're merging that. Not a lot of people are talking about this. You could absolutely blast forward. Hey, I'm willing to do that. But I promise you right now, there will be a no to the schedule and the idea that I have to run myself ragged because I see it. I've lived it. I see it in my clients. And one of the things that we really focus on is having their space and having time to decompress, because you are not a good leader if you don't have that. So where are you still trying to justify your value to people or in activity that just isn't lining up anymore? Where are you pounding it out and exhausting yourself and not having as much joy as you possibly could have because there's some message that that's what joy is? That's what a love of life is. There's no quick fix to any of this. I don't do quick fix. I don't do drive-throughs. And if someone doesn't want to do the internal work, I'm not for them, and that's okay. That's okay. Someone else will help them, and maybe I'll see them in a few years. But after 25 years of doing this and watching how many people have created completely abundant, wonderfully aligned, loving themselves lives, I get to learn from them too. And I'm blessed to have a partner who loves to hear about my work, but he also equally loves to hear about the farm days and what I'm learning there and how it's helping me to be a more evolved soul, to have conversations with very different energies and humans and animals. And I wonder if you've asked, what could you do to create that in your life and for the joy of your life? We are told we have value if the number in the bank reflects that, or the salary, or the letters on a piece of paper. All those things are fine. They're great. They're part of wanting more, which your soul comes in absolutely encouraging your human self to do. But the idea that we have to constantly push, constantly be growing, performing, is where you trade success for peace. And maybe, just maybe, if there was some quiet time and learning how to be present and how to be in your body, connecting with your mind, and taking the inventory of your life, maybe you get to define what's a meaningful, expansive, all the bells and whistles, throw the sprinkles on top of ice cream life. Like, what does that look like for you? Are you asking yourself those questions? Are you taking any pause to say, what matters to me? I know for years I was telling the story of that big stage. I still love a stage. Don't get me wrong. I really love a stage. But it's shifted. If that opportunity shows up, oh, I'll show up. No doubt. But it's not something I want to chase anymore because I would have been doing it to validate my worth or my offering to the world. And I don't need to be there for millions of people. I want millions of people to know that they matter and that this work doesn't have to be a lot. It really does come from being present and understanding how your head may be telling you a story other people have told you. But you get to define what is meaningful to you. I love reading about people who decided they were going to live in a van or they were going to do a tiny life. Don't do a tiny life, do a big life, a tiny house, or that they were going to sublet their apartment and head overseas for 6 months to see what that feels like and how they experience it and do they even like it. I love reading about and watching YouTube videos of those types of experiences because I really do believe that's why we're here as humans, is to constantly be asking ourselves, well, what do I like now? I just canned green beans last night. I was so scared to use the pressure cooker. I use an Instant Pot all the time, but we had an abundant crop of green beans and I didn't want them to go to waste. So I'm like, I got a canner. I bought one at a tag sale last year. I'm going to figure this out. And I have not felt pride like that in a long time. I'm not going to eat those beans because green beans cooked are yucky to me. But I am so proud of the fact that I put up 6 quarts and Mike will have them for quite a while. And the challenging myself to not be afraid of this pressure cooker thing or that I would do it wrong. Hello, hyperachiever. And there were a couple times during that process where I stepped back and I paused and I'm like, this is a good giggle to have Vicky. If 10 years ago, Vicky, looking at this right now would have been like, are you kidding me? No, I'm traveling. I'm on the stage. I have 3 books written, all the things, right, that I thought were the paths to joy. And they may still be at some point, but right now, that's not the case. And I love that I know myself well enough to feel like this is a very fulfilling life. And I'm doing apples next because I like apples. So I'm doing those. So recognizing that work isn't everything, our jobs, however you make your income is not everything. We can love our life in whole and have work that does light us up, but maybe you don't. Maybe your work is fine and it pays the bills and you don't get too overly invested in it. That doesn't mean you have to change it. What matters to you? I love my work, but I also love being able to take walks with my dog. Ooh. Oh, they're not in the room. Good. I love my barn days. The work the physical work and the mental work that asks of me. Plus, I'm learning all these great, like, vet tech skills, which are terrifying and fun at the same time. The needle felting, I'm about to teach a class in needle felting because it's a good fundraiser for the farm, and I wanna bring that joy to people, and needle felting has a special success level to it that everyone can do it. So I'm looking forward to seeing a group of women. So far, it's all women. We have a couple guys that might show up, but just absolutely get joy out of this cute little donkey that we're going to make. I love laughing at like corny jokes and puns and memes. And I absolutely not only love, but require stillness. I require quiet. After I finish this podcast episode, the rest of my day will be spent in silence because I really need that. It was a lot of talking this weekend. And that's the gift I'll give myself for the rest of the day, right up until bed. It will be a quiet day. And that is success too. That is why I may not be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay, because I won't text you back if I'm taking a silent day. I won't. That's my day. It's taken me so long to learn that the world isn't going to tip off its axis if Vicky doesn't respond immediately to someone's need. And I wonder if you're doing that too. My coaching absolutely helps build businesses and make life changes. It helps to bring abundance into people's lives by investing in themselves. That's the first part. When you invest in yourself, abundance tends to follow. But even more than that, I feel like the integration that happens for my clients when there's someone on this side of the computer saying, okay, but what have you done to take care of you today? Is there something that you could, for 3 minutes, get your brain in connection with your heart and with your spirit? And I hope it helps them to feel integrated with their soul, because that really is a good level of success to me. I would love to encourage you to not be everyone's cup of tea or coffee or wine or mojitos. I don't drink, so I'm having a hard time coming up with other things. Sweet tea, you don't have to be everyone's cup of sweet tea, especially because not everybody gets to pull on your energy in that way. You have to be true to your soul and you have to be true to you. So I hope this episode sparked something for you and reminded you of who you are so that you feel inspired to ask, what is it I like? What don't I like? Is there something that's in the way of me feeling lighter? And that might be like, I'm going to go do my closet now. Like that may be something like that. Let the information pop in. I would love for you to remember that you're a soul who came into this human experience to expand, to learn. But most importantly, you came in to learn who you were. You did not come in wanting to learn who everyone around you, every coworker, every person on social media, all the followers and all that baloney. You didn't come in for that. It's a good contrast to help you develop your ninja skills of listening to yourself and understanding if your saboteurs are joining the social message of you don't have success if it doesn't look like this. I would really love for you to ask yourself what matters to you and how can you not be everyone's cup of tea as well? Because, my friend, you are spreading yourself too thin. You're exhausted. You deserve to have joy with yourself, by yourself, and then in connection with others. But you enjoy that contentedness. You are absolutely so worthy of that. And it starts by being willing to not be everybody's cup of tea. I hope I'm your cup of tea and you stayed and you listened to the episode. And I hope that you continue to challenge yourself to line up with who you are and to feel blessed to be a human, because it really is a blessing to be in this experience that we're in right now. And our brains really can link up with our souls to know that with a little bit of effort. Thank you so much. I am grateful you are here. I'm grateful you're my people. And I'm so blessed to have your energy participating in this podcast. So take care. See you in the next episode, huh?
Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. If it sparks something, pass it on. And when you're ready to go deeper, I'm just a click away at vickybaird.com. Trust your gut, quiet the noise. You've got this.